Hi everybody, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I have a fun project for you today. Take a look at this quilt behind me. Isn't this great? It's a sort of a squash blossom blooming kind of southwest feel to it, and I just love it. I love the fabric. I think it's gorgeous. Super easy to make and zero waste on this project. So let me show you how to do that. So to make this quilt, you're going to need one package of 10-inch squares, and we have used Songbook by Fancy That for Moda Designs. For your background, you're going to need 3 1/4 yards, and this includes your inner and middle borders. For your outer border, a nice big 6-inch border, you're going to need 1 1/4 yards, and for the backing, you're going to need 4 3/4 yards or 2 1/2 yards of a 108 wide back. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a layer cake, and I'm going to show you how I cut it. Our first cut is our middle section, and it's 4 inches. So we're going to lay our ruler on here and cut a 4-inch piece like this. And then all of our next cuts are going to be 2-inch pieces. So we're cutting 2, and you can stack these up and do several at a time if you want. 2 and 2. There we go. Oh, so I did, I lied. There's this waist right here. Just a tiny bit. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take one of these and set it aside. We're just going to set it over here because you'll notice, look at this first little border out here. Those are all those little 2-inch pieces. And these are the pieces we need for our block. So this one right here, we're going to stack these 2 strips right here. We're going to cut a 6-inch piece off of this, and because they're 10 inches, it's going to leave us with a 6 and a 4. So I'm going to come right over here and cut 6 inches like this. Lay my ruler on, here's my 6-inch line, and I'm just going to make one cut like this, and these are the pieces that we need to make this block. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have to cut some background squares, and we're going to cut some 2-inch squares for our corners up here, and we're going to snowball all 4 of these corners. And we're going to come over here to the sewing machine, and what I'm going to do, you can iron the line, you can finger press the line, that's what I'm going to do, match up my corners, run my nails along that edge. That gives me a sew line, and we're going to put 4 of these on the outside corners and snowball these corners. Like that. And one more. And you can draw the line. Whatever you want to do. You can also use your diagonal stitch tape if you want to. That works very well on this because we're just following right down that center line. So we're going to put 4 of these on here. I'm just going to sew straight down this side. Now this is a 4-inch piece, and our corner pieces are 2 inches, so you can actually lay the other one right on there. They don't overlap, they just lay right together. But you'll want to push back that other piece as you add this next one. And then we're going to go down here to the bottom side and do it as well. So just snowball all 4 corners. It's so funny, we get so used to terms like snowball. And snowball is, it's like, what does that mean, snowball? It's just where you put a square on the corner of a block and it just makes it a little rounder. All right, I'm going to push this one back, and then I can add my other one on there. I don't think it'll catch, but I just want to be safe. I'd rather be safe than pick. All right, here we go. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm just going to trim these off real quick like this. And you can do it with your rotary cutter. You can do it with your scissors. I'm a little bit old school, so I always have my scissors handy. It doesn't have to be perfect or straight because we're going to press these down to the outside like this. Scoot these up here. Press these like this. All right, so this is the center. Oh, I have a little pleat here. Make sure you don't have any pleats or folds because that will change the size of your block. So this is the center of our block. So now we're going to take our 6-inch pieces and our 4-inch pieces and our background cuts that we're going to make on these. I cut them a little bit bigger because I wanted to be able to trim them down. I wanted to make sure they fit, and I wanted to be able to trim them down. So our long pieces, these are 6 inches, and these are 5 inches. And the 5-inch pieces are going on our long piece, and basically what you're going to do is you're going to lay them right in the corner like this. So choose a corner, lay them like this, and they're both going to go like this. Now, if you want to draw the line corner to corner again, you can. Sometimes it's a little hard to see on something like this, so I can show you how I will do that. I would just take a little pen, my ruler, come corner to corner. So you can see the corner of your fabric right here and the corner up here, and you're just going to draw this like this, a little line. You can also fold it up like this until it meets that edge, and that will work as a line as well. So either way works, you know, and again, because it's on the edges, you can use your diagonal seam tape. So we're going to sew 2 5-inch strips to our 6-inch strip like this. We'll do both of those, and then we'll do our smaller one. And you can always put a pin in there so you don't have to reset them. All right, so there's that one. And I know it looks kind of funny, like with those little ears hanging down, but it's going to work, I promise. All right, so this one right here. And I'm just going to use my diagonal seam tape for this. And then come over here and do this one. And then I'm just going to trim these off. Actually, before you trim, do the test. Make sure you did it right. And we're going to go like this, and it should come out to be one straight long piece like that. So always do the test, because if you got them on there wrong, they're going to look like an L. All right, so we'll put that over there to iron and trim these off. Oh, and put this over there. All right, then we have our little pieces, and we're going to do those exactly the same way. So this piece is 6 inches, this piece is 4, and so we're going to lay these on here, and these are going to lay right next to each other, just like that. And so what I like to do on these is I'm going to sew up to here and then down to there. So I'm just going to catch that in one fell swoop, and we'll do this to both pieces of this. All right, line it up right in the corner, and then we're just going to sew straight across. And this one shifted a little bit, so I'm just going to keep that right there close by the needle, lay it back in there, and start down this side like this. And then we'll do the other one as well. So I'll grab 2 of the longer pieces. And, whoops, this one isn't quite trimmed in half. Let me fix that. All right. So this one goes on in this corner. We're sewing diagonally from the bottom corner to the top of the strip. And then I'm just going to turn this and come down the other side. All right, now let's trim these. And again, before we trim, do the test. Yep, that's right. So then what we're going to do is trim these off. When I started doing this, I had a couple that came out wrong. That's why I check it. But then I remembered that when I put this strip across here, these 2 side strips always hang down. So I get these little thoughts in my head, and it reminds me so that I don't make the mistake too many times. I get all these little mantras going. All right, so now let's press these out. And what I do on this is you're just going to start at one end of the strip, put your iron on there, and just kind of flatten it out as you go along like this. And run more right here. And then here's our little last one. All right, now when you go to put these together, we're ready to assemble our block now. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our middle piece right here, and we're going to start with our bigger strip, and we're going to put the smaller part to the middle, so right here. And we're going to do the same thing on this side like this. And then these ones are going to do the same thing, the smaller part to the middle, and a smaller part to the middle here, like this. Oops, wait, whew, almost did that one backwards. Now you'll notice, because of our strips on the outside, it's smaller than the middle block. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew these 2 strips together, press them, and then we're going to attach them to the middle, and then trim the whole thing. Okay, so I'm just going to take these two strips on both sides, and they should be about the same length. If they're not, just make a crease in the middle. You know, find the middle of your block like this, make a little crease, and put that in the center by that, and then they'll line up. Mine match up pretty close, and so, but all of our seams are different, so. And then you have to just remember which side to sew your seam on. So again, because I have this sitting here, I'm thinking I might be doing it backwards, and I am. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we've got this going the right way, and then sew that seam. So I'm just going to take this over here really quick before I forget. All right. Sew down the side. Still our regular 1/4 inch seam. And then this one over here. And let me look to make sure. We're going to sew these two together. Sew a little bit, make sure your ends line up. All right, now let's press these open, and I'm going to cut them apart. So your two pieces should look the same. If they don't, you're just going to have to do it again. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put these onto our block. Now you can trim these to 10 if you want. I went ahead and just sewed mine on, and what I did was I found my center here like this, and my center of my block like this, and I just matched up my centers and then squared the block at the end. I mean, you can do it either way. It's not going to matter one bit, but we're going to do it this way because this is how I did it. And we have a piece on this side like this. Our centers are lined up. And the reason I changed this so that my outer strips were a little bit longer is that depending upon your seam allowance, it can come out short, and you don't want it to be short. And I'd rather just trim it down a little bit than I would have to not have enough fabric on there. And so just watch that. If you want to shorten them up and you're much better at that 1/4 inch seam than I am. My 1/4 inch seam is it's small. And so I just have to make allowances for that when I'm sewing, and when the pattern team is writing, we make allowances for that. All right, so this is how your block will look once you get your little pieces sewn together. This is it, and then we're going to take a nice 10-inch ruler. This block should finish at 10 inches, and it will just, match up right here on the sides, and then basically we'll just trim off these edges right here. And it'll give us a nice straight block. I don't think there's anything up there. There we go. And this is your block. So isn't that cute? And it's just a cute little bloom. And so what I've got here is a few blocks. And what I did when I set them was I put one up and down like this. Let me come down here so you can see this better. One up and down, and then one sideways like this. And then one up and down, and one sideways. So we've got up and down, and sideways, and up and down. And let's look at the quilt. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 by 6. Now there's 42 pieces in a layer cake, and I only used 36 of them, and that was because some of them were really light white, and I knew they wouldn't show. And for this block to really have pizzazz, it needs that contrast. Even this one, you can see the difference in these two. This one, it just pops. And this one is a little more sedate. It works, but I wanted to go ahead and just make sure that the fabrics that I used had good contrast. So then I put a small 2-inch white inner border out here, and then all these leftover pieces right here, all of our 2s that were left over, I just sewed together end to end to end like this. And then put them all away around this. And you can see, like there was a little square that was left here. This one gets cut off short. I didn't worry about any of that. I just wanted to frame it. Then I added another 2-inch border out here. And then my last was a nice big 6-inch border, and it just frames the quilt. This fabric is so darling. So the back we couldn't help but use this fabric on the back. It's so pretty. So the quilting pattern we used on this is called Botanical Blossoms, and so it has lots of little fun flowers and floral shapes in it. It's just really fun. This makes a great quilt. It's 75 by 75. It goes together super easy and absolutely no waste. So we hope you enjoyed this tutorial on boho blooms from the Missouri Star Quilt Company. We hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you are not already part of the Missouri Star Quilt family, you can hit the subscribe button below so you won't miss a thing. And if you click that bell, it'll notify you every time a new tutorial comes out. See you next Friday.